What's going on, y'all? It's Jared, the Lagniappe Legend Podcast. I'm your host, Jared, giving you what you need in news and interviews. Today on the show, we have founder and owner of Total Disinfecting Solutions, Chad Dabney. Welcome to the show, sir.
How you doing, man?
Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Good. Before we start getting these questions and interview process, make sure y'all follow, like, share. We have a message to give out to communities in our area, so we know about these important individuals, the crew of legends, as well as business owners in the local area. All right, so let's get into it, sir. Can you give the people a little background about yourself?
All right, my name is Chad Dabney. I'm the owner-operator of Total Disinfecting Solutions. We started the company about 7 months ago. I'm originally from Franklin, Louisiana. It's a little small town, 90 miles south of New Orleans. I met my beautiful wife and moved to New Orleans. Before starting this business, I was in the oil and gas industry. I worked in different capacities throughout the industry. My most recent position was project management with Halliburton out in Houston. So as a result of COVID, I got laid off and I decided to jump feet first into starting my own business. And here I am.
All right, that's what's up. A lot of people have been impacted by COVID, and a lot of people taking this negative time to do positive things. That's why I'm really like your story, how you got laid off and then you started a whole business. So yeah. What made you want to get into the cleaning, sanitation? What's the proper terminology for your
I mean, so basically, you know, people use the terms interchangeably, but cleaning, sanitation, and disinfecting all have three different definitions. But basically, my initial thoughts were to get into mold assessment and remediation. That's where I was headed. So I took some classes, got certified, and then I realized that, hey, the same kind of equipment, the same kind of instruction that I'm getting for this, I can put toward starting up a disinfecting service. So I did a little bit more digging, and I found out that you need to get a commercial pesticide license, which I didn't even know that you need to do in order to do this kind of work. But hey, the internet works, right? And so I got the license, passed. I got the material, studied for about 3 weeks, passed the test, got a license, and I could start the business legally. So that was the way I got started.
So you said you had to get what type of license you had to get in?
A commercial pesticide license. So in order to be licensed with the state, in order to disinfect, you need a commercial pesticide applicator license with an antimicrobial license attached to it.
Okay.
And so that kind of makes you legal in the state side, so you're fully licensed to do the work that you you want to do, or this type of work.
All right. How much does a license? So before you even do that, you had to get an LLC.
Yeah,
you have to take the exam. Yeah. Is it free? How much does it cost to take the exam?
The exam was $250. Well, actually, the test was $50, but it's $200 once you pass the test to get your license. Right? That's how the state do it. So the material was free. I reached out to Louisiana Department of Agriculture and Forestry, and they were like, here's a material, study up, pick a date, and come take the test. Here are the fees associated with it. You go. I went to Baton Rouge, sat in the room, took the test, got my results, paid the money, and had my license all within the same day. So
okay, that's pretty cool. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got your business, you got your license. Mm-hmm. So how do you get clientele for something that pretty much some people just get? You just got into this industry, especially because of COVID. How do you get clients? How do you get referrals?
Well, first you start with your network, right? You always build from the inside out. And so I just started calling people that I knew and started telling them about the business. And then from there, I started building my Google business page. I wasn't a person who was heavy into social media before I started this business, so I didn't have a strong social media presence. But by starting that Google business page and then getting customers to give me reviews early on really helped my exposure, right? After doing a little research, I soon realized that Google is everything for a small business, right? You get the map rankings, those first pages, or you're gonna pay for it. So either way, you're gonna be involved with Google trying to get your business to grow. If anybody's listening who has a small business or getting ready to start one, educate yourself on how to use Google business pages in order to boost your profile in your local community.
Okay. Oh, so you use Google Pages, you pay for the advertisement ads?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So how it works, you basically can do it two ways, right? So it's organic Google results where your reviews and how many times people click on your site affect your ranking. That takes a little time. It takes about 3 to 4 months to really get up there. But you can also pay for it, right? You're paying for space. So whatever your budget is, like you search an object, you'll see those ads come up first thing when you search anything on Google. Those paid ads will be up the first thing you see. Well, those ads cost, right? So you set a monthly budget, and whatever you can afford is how you get your ads up there. Now, being a small company, you can't, your budget's got to be a little bit smaller than the bigger guys, but at least if you do it wisely, you can kind of get your exposure up there where you're not getting passed over when customers look for your service.
All right. Cool. All right. So now you got your referrals, you got your first client. So how was it when you got your your first client?
Man, I was excited. I was like, okay, we're doing this, right? Because all before it was just the steps.
Okay.
Steps to getting the business started, like you said, starting the LLC, getting properly insured, getting licensed, getting promotional material put out. And then when you finally get that first call, it's like, hey,
It's serious.
I'm serious, right? And the first call was like, these people were out of town and they had a house sitter, and apparently he tested positive for COVID. So they called me while they were on the road home. They're like, hey, we need you to disinfect our house. And so I was like, okay. So that was my first customer. Nobody was home. They let me in through the ring thing. They let me in their house, and I disinfected it while they were gone. And that was my first customer. So I was like, okay, that's how it works.
All right, that's what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
And from there, you got your next client. You got a bunch of referrals.
Got my next client, started, putting my name out there. Hey, I went old fashioned, started passing out brochures, just walking, passing out my information to people, letting them know my services. So, you can't beat old fashioned word of mouth, right? It's the most effective advertising tool you can get. For real, man. And so, one person heard, and I got hooked with some other people, and they told them about my service, and I did walkthroughs, and so I just started being able to build my client list progressively. So it was exciting.
Okay. All right, let's talk about when you're doing your walkthroughs and doing your estimates. So the biggest thing I've noticed with entrepreneurs, even with myself, business owners, how to evaluate how much do you charge. So I know it's a difficult thing because you don't want to be too high, but you don't want to be too low. You want to make profit.
Right.
So you want to bring in revenue for your business. So how do you calculate your estimates?
So basically, I walk through, and for most places, I use a square footage, a certain price per square foot, and I kind of tier it to where if you're under so many thousand square feet, it's going to be one price. If you're over, let's say 10,000 square feet, it'll be another price. And then if it's over 50,000 square feet, it'll be another price, right? So the prices get lower as your square foot goes up. That's typical places, but some places are different because you can't price a gym or workout area the same as you would a warehouse, because there's not as much to disinfect in a warehouse as it is a gym. So you got to kind of take that all in effect and be fair with people. You don't just want to charge them what you think they can pay. You want to get return business, and you don't want to price yourself out either. So I kind of did a little research and did some cold calling, got some friends to call our competitors to see what they were charging, and then figure out how much. Yeah.
Hey, that's smart. Hey.
Then I figured out how much it would cost me to do the work, right? So my biggest cost would be the chemicals I use, and I figured out with the equipment I got how much I can spray with the equipment I use, and how much I would use, and how much it would cost me. So I broke it down to the ounces. I know what I pay per 5 gallons. I know how much an ounce costs me now. So I know how many ounces it'll take me to do this space, and that's kind of how I work it from there.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so you starting this business. You say a lot of your overhead is with chemicals.
Mhm.
Can you talk about how much you spend typically per month on chemicals and equipment? Because I know you had to spend a lot of money on equipment. I remember we were talking about it months ago
Mhm.
about how you was waiting on equipment to come in because
Yeah,
it's
well,
taking so long. So you'll
you know,
talk about that a
everybody.
little bit.
Yeah, so the equipment, um, capitalism is the way it is. People, when there's a demand for something, the prices are high, and so I placed orders for the electrostatic equipment I use in May. I think I finally got my equipment like end of July, and so it was just back ordered. Nobody, you just couldn't get it because the demand was so high. So that was the initial cost. It wasn't bad, but it was pretty steep. But I was in the mindset that like, hey, you could get some not as expensive and less effective equipment, or you can get the best you can get and let it work for you. So that's the route I went. The chemical I use is not well. I use two different chemicals. Let me explain it like this. So the first chemical I use is a non-toxic disinfectant. It's basically salt water that's run through electrolysis. And then one end, on negative end, you get a cleaner, and on the positive end, you get disinfectant. So it's basically salt water that's electrified. So it's non-toxic, but it's effective against a host of bacteria and viruses. And but an EPA is EPA registered. So that's the key. So you get a solution or a chemical that's EPA registered, and that's on the list N to be effective against SARS-CoV-2. And so, because that's why we're here, right? Um, and so that's the cost of the chemical isn't high initially, but the second chemical I use is a 90-day surface coating.
Okay.
And what that does, instead of it being a chemical kill, is a physical kill. So I'll coat a surface with the antimicrobial treatment, and it'll last for up to 90 days. And that is a lot more expensive than the other disinfectant. So, and that's all figured in pricing too, right?
Okay.
So,
All right. So what type of technology do you use to assist with your business?
so from the equipment, like with most things, like something happens and people have a need, technology kind of speeds up a little bit, right? We see that happening now with the vaccine. So when this started happening, people realized that the old method of spraying down surfaces with a spray bottle or whatever was just expensive and ineffective. So it started adapting the electrostatic sprayers from like paint for people that paint automobiles. So that's where I think it started off from. And so companies saw it and they modified it and they use the electrostatic sprayers. Basically, there's a pump and it pumps out of the backpack, and then at the end of the nozzle there's a charge and electrifies the solution as it comes out. And so it makes it negative and it's looking for a positive on surfaces. So it coats the surface more evenly and uses less liquid. So that's a big part of why I can handle big jobs because of I can use a gallon of solution and do 50,000 square feet easy, no problem, in less than an hour. So that's one part.
Wow.
Yeah, that really helps you increase your profit margin.
Okay.
And then
What
I
else do you
also,
use? Yeah, go ahead.
so I use like it's an ATP monitoring device. It's basically a little. I wish I had it in here. I could show it to you, but it uses relative light from proteins. So you swab a surface, you put it in the ATP monitoring device, and it'll give you a relative number of how many microbes are on the surface. It won't tell you what specifically it is, but it will tell you how much is on the surface. So part of my slogan of my company is sanitize, disinfect, and verify. So we sanitize and we disinfect and we verify using ATP monitoring system. Um, I chose that monitoring system because it has a cloud-based reporting software. So all the data that I collect from a space. So if I go to a school, excuse me, if I go to a school and set up a plan for the school, I'll take those swabs, put them in there, give me a reading, and when I get back, I can just upload it through the cloud-based technology. I know you like that. You'll get the results, right? And so it gives you the results for, the month, year. You can break it down to location, time of day. Is awesome. So the customer can see, like, hey, they can see trends, right? Because it's all about data, right? Everything is about data.
Exactly.
If you can show the customer, like, here's your data for the past 30 days, then it kind of separates me from, everybody else doing it. I can kind of give them the data, look at, and say, hey, this area we may need to pay closer attention to, and they can point that to their cleaning staff and say, hey, we need to improve cleaning this room or this bathroom because the numbers are constantly high in this area. And so it's just another tool that you can give people, especially nowadays, where they can kind of have a more informed look at how things are being done in their facility.
All right, that's cool. I never even knew that existed.
Yeah, I didn't either. And it's used mainly in like the food processing but like I said, when stuff like this happens, they realize that people that use it in like sanitization work and janitorial work and use it as a tool, as a marketing tool, and as a tool to help them stand out. So yeah, it was a good investment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about your websites and your who designed that, who helped you, because it's a pretty good website and your social media outlets. So let's talk about that, because that's one thing a lot of entrepreneurs, everybody's heard to jump on Instagram, but you took a different approach. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, like I said, I wasn't a big social media guy before this business. So I knew social media posting every day wasn't going to be a strong point for me. So I went to Squarespace. Initially, I went to Squarespace and started my own website. Kind of just put the information in there that I needed to explain people what I did, how I do it, and what I serve, right? The kind of places I serve. And it was pretty good for, I got a little help, but it was pretty good for a beginning website. But then I got with a company called Thrive, and they do like the whole business suite software type thing where they have, you can do your scheduling, you can message your clients, you can send out promotional things all through that one platform. Then you can also have them do your website and do your SEO, which is search engine optimization. That's something, if you're not familiar with, you need to get familiar with if you're a small business owner, because that's the way Google operates, right? Like if your website's not getting clicks, it's not being seen, and are people seeing you?
Right.
So, and that's kind of why I took the approach with them. So they had to redo the website in order for it to fit their search optimization coding. So, but it's been a learning experience with that. This is my second company, and I'll just be honest, the first company, they didn't get what I did. And so I had to keep going back like, hey man, you need to fix this. Hey man. So don't just lesson learned for me. Like just because somebody says they know how to do things, don't just trust them with your business, right? Always make sure that you do a little research on what you're paying them to do. And then also go back and check up on them, right? Make sure they're doing what they say they're doing, right? Because if they don't, I'm sure they're used to people just paying them the money and just letting it go and not worrying about it. But yeah, those services aren't cheap.
Right. So what happened with the first company you was using?
They just had, like I told them, like if you look at my Instagram or my face, my Instagram, you'll see that I never wear like a hazmat suit or anything like that. And that was just something I told them, like, hey man, I don't need to do that because the stuff I use is non-toxic, right? It's not necessary.
Okay.
That was the first thing. And then it was just like the wording of the my products and my services just wasn't fitting what I wanted. And when you're dealing with companies like this, a lot of times it's outsourced. So you'll be talking to somebody in California, but they'll be sourcing the work out to somebody else in another part of the country. And it's just not like, you just don't, if they don't understand what you're saying, or they don't understand what you're doing, and it's going to look silly. So I kind of had to get rid of them, and I went with a company who who understood at least what I was doing, and I had more contact with them as far as helping with the website and helping with my search optimization.
All right, cool. All right. So since you've been doing the company for a while now, if somebody else was interested in getting in your industry, what do you think would be your advice? Like, what would be the do's and what would be the don'ts?
The do's, don't do it. No, I'm joking. No, no, I would tell them to do research first, right? Um, find out everything you need to know and figure out what equipment they're going to need and how they're going to approach this business, right? Because there are a lot of people doing this. Let's just be honest, right? It's one of those things that you can do.
Okay.
It's not extremely difficult, but if you do it right, if you do it wrong, it could be bad for you. But
Okay.
I would tell people to do the research and then find out who are they going to market to, who are they going to target as far as business. Are you going to target to homeowners? Are you going to target business owners? Are you going to focus on like government work, trying to get government work? Are you going to try and focus on restaurant? Like it's it helps to know where you want to go with it. You just can't because the things you do for a business, you're not going to do for a home, right? It's just different. The space is different. The stuff in the home is different than just an office building. So you got to keep all that in mind. People's expectations are different when it comes to their homes. And that goes back to me saying that, what I said earlier, like people don't understand the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. All three of those words have different meanings. And so, when people call me like, hey, you do the cleaning? And I was like, well, I'm not like a traditional cleaning company, so to speak, right? This is what I do. So you have to make sure your customers understand your services. But I would say if you're looking to get into it, figure out how much it's going to cost you to start, figure out how you're going to get to reach your customers, where you're going to set your website up at, and get out there and let people know you're ready to do the work.
All right. So what are some don'ts you should do? You shouldn't do.
I found out earlier that you should not worry about what your competition is doing.
Okay.
I know sometimes when you got a new business, you want to see what the other guy's doing, but yeah, that's not that's not real helpful because you're like, oh, I could have had that. Cause you start second guessing some of the things you're doing. I learned that like the first month. I'm like, hey, I can't be worried about what company A is doing. I'm gonna do my thing. Let my work speak for itself. Know your budget, right? So once you get your equipment and you know how much your supplies are going to cost, you always have to prepare for the increase, right? Your increase in customers, right? The more customers you have, the more you're going to spend on chemicals. But you also need to be aware of what you need to spend for advertising. I wasn't aware of that when I first started the business. I was like, oh, word of mouth. But advertising is expensive, but it does work if it's done right. And so you need to understand where you're going to advertise and how you're going to get the most bang for your buck with your advertising dollars. Because certain things may not work well for a small company that work for a bigger company. So you need to understand where your customers are and the best way to get to them and how to spend your money wisely. That's like the big lesson I learned in the beginning.
Okay. All right. So since you're an entrepreneur, how's that work-life balance treating you?
Well, I am married with 4 kids, and they are all at home. My wife is working from home, and she has a very demanding job and a very demanding schedule. She also is a hustler. She is a businesswoman. I ain't going to say hustler. She has her own handmade organic skincare line, Lavender Jade. Shop lavenderjade.com if you need any gifts for holidays. And she is also into real estate. She just completed pretty much a total reno on a house, and she's getting ready to flip that. So she's awesome. So we got kids at the house, so we just busy, man. We kind of had to take a step back and take some time out, like a day, half a day, just get away. And it's kind of hard sometimes, but it is what it is. It's 2020, so as
Right.
much as all the crazy stuff is going on, I think we've been blessed to have these opportunities come our way and still be okay. So I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, work-life balance is important.
Yeah, I'm going to get her on the show and talk about
She got so many. You gotta tell her which one you want to talk about, because she got so many hustles.
We'll talk about all of them when we get on there. So let's talk about. Oh, this is my favorite question, of course. What was your biggest mistake, and how did you come back from that?
My biggest mistake was not thinking that I could go after big jobs early, like kind of selling myself short, so to speak. Because keep in mind, this is my first time I've been in business for myself, right? I've always worked for other people, right? And so it was a little intimidating. And so I kind of sold myself short, like, oh, I should start off small. Like, no, if you got the opportunity to get something big, go big. Right? That's how I looked at it. So
All right,
don't let opportunity pass you by.
Okay, I'm
Thinking
glad
you
you
can't
talked
handle
about that. So, can you explain the difference from being an employee to being the CEO and employer?
Well, all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes when you're an employee, don't take it for granted, because there's a lot of work. Setting up the pay, taxes, setting up advertising, getting your budget straight. When you go to work for somebody, you go in, clock in, you get your deposit, boom, you straight. When you work for yourself, you got to find somebody to do it. And if you ain't got the money, you got to do it yourself. So all that, and that's why it's not easy, man. Because all those things that you took for granted when you was working for somebody, you're responsible for it now. And so, I mean, there's help out there. There's different ways you can kind of talk to people and find other people to kind of help you out. But like I said, it costs money. And so that's all got to be figured into your costs, balancing your books, making sure that you're not spending more than you're taking in, keeping those costs low, keeping it's just you think about everything, right? And I'm to the point now where I can handle all my jobs myself. But if I ever, when I get to the point where I need an employee, then it even gets more complicated, right? Because now I'm in charge of them. And I've been in charge of people with other jobs before, but now when they work for you, it's different, right? So
Cool. Okay. All right. So, since you've been in business for a while, so what was that moment when you realized that, yo, I could do this? I'm successful in this. I'm gonna keep doing. I'm keep grinding with it.
I want to say I got a pretty large business to use my services. And so, they had other people actively bidding a job, and I got it, and I was excited. I was like, hey, this is a long-term contract, and they picked me, right? And so I was like, yeah, I can compete. Like I can, I can do this on a large scale. I feel like I'm confident now. I can do it. And I know my job. I know how it works. I know my equipment now. You got to get to a point where you feel comfortable with all those things, right? And I got to that point, and I feel like, okay, I can make this work now. I know it may come a point in time when I need to pivot from this into something else. So I'm not gonna be naive and think that we're gonna need disinfecting services on this scale forever. But I've already kind of set that plan in motion while I'm working on this. So you got to always think ahead.
Right. That's the job of an entrepreneur. That's right. Yeah, that's good right there. Okay. All right. So what about the how do you set up for, I'm glad you brought that up, competing for like budget for I can't talk. Competing for long-term project contract.
So,
excuse me.
All right. So I took part in a program, and this is another thing that I would suggest people who are just starting out, if you got the opportunity. I took part in the Bill NOLA 2020 program. It's a local business program where people sign up. You get sign up, and they kind of give you the ins and outs of managing your books and managing your people. And then the most important part for me was the getting ready to start presenting yourself to start bidding on some of these government contracts. It's a lot of things like that we just, you're not exposed to on a daily basis, so you just don't know. So that program was very helpful in me understanding that process. and just for exposure as well, like not being from New Orleans and being put in front of people who from here who had a lot of insight into how things work really helped me out. And so first of
What was the
all,
name of
you
that
need
program again?
to build NOLA. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, because I never heard of that before. That sounds like a good program. So, with that program, is it free? You have to pay? How does that work?
Yeah, well, it was free. Excuse me. It was free. You just basically, I got, and this leads into another thing that I suggest people do, especially if you're a minority-owned business, is signing up with the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce, because that's how I heard about this opportunity. Right, I I became a chamber member like before I got my first customer. Right, and I thought that was very
Really?
important. Right, yeah, like so when you talk to people. I was talking to someone at a radio station. I was trying to get an ad at WBOK. Shout out to
Mhm.
WBOK because I got my first radio ad with them. And the station manager like, "Are you a member of the Black Chamber?" I was like, "No." You're like, "You need to be a member because they're plugged in and they'll let you know about all the opportunities that are available." So I paid my dues, and you know, just just by doing that, I just got exposed to so much. I get emails. They'll send me emails about signing up with the state, making sure your paperwork is right. And that's how you get in that loop where you know about what's going on with these government contracts. And so that's how I found out about the Bill NOLA program. Um, I got an email, I signed up, they chose me to participate. It was like a 8-week program. Um, of course, it was virtual this year, but I learned so much in that 8 weeks, and the connections I made are invaluable. So yeah, do those two things, man. Sign up with the Black Chamber of Commerce if you know a minority-owned business or any chamber of commerce. Really, there are several. Do your research, sign up for those, and then take advantage of opportunities you feel like they can help you out and help you grow your business.
Wow, that's a real golden nugget right there. Like that's some true real knowledge. All right,
Yeah.
all right. So, so we getting toward the end of the show. So, got a few more questions for you. So,
Mhm.
where do you see the future of your business expanding? We have COVID vaccines coming out. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we
we
can
do.
turn to The Walking Dead after a few
Let's,
months of taking them.
yeah.
So let's say these vaccines work and COVID doesn't spread anymore. So,
Mhm.
what is your future business plan for that?
So what I hope to convey to my customers is that, hey, even though we have a vaccine, my process will help you keep down help you with a cleaner workplace in general, right? Just because COVID's not around doesn't mean something else won't come around, or you won't have to worry about flu and cold, because those things still affect bottom line, right? People get sick in the office, they have to miss work, it kind of throws everything off. So I want people to look at my business like they look at pest control, right? So pest control is all about pest management. When you hire a pest control company, they come out, they assess the situation, they make their necessary actions, and they maintain it. And so it's the same thing I want to do with the disinfecting service, right? I want to be able to go in with the chemicals I use. I can kind of increase the time out to 90 days and add value to people's bottom line by saying, look, you got me for 90 days. I'll come in every month to check up on things, just like a pest control service would. And that way you're managing those health risks, because we have to change the way we clean now. It's not just about cleaning for scent and appearance. Like, you got to clean for health, because just as quickly as COVID came, who knows what happens next, right? The world is changing, and I think people need to get used to a different way of cleaning, and I think I can help with that. Now, I also got to make money, right? Got to pay bills, so I'm also getting into mold assessment remediation, and I'm also getting off in the home inspection. I'm taking my home inspection course right now, so that'll give me another revenue stream. Because I'm not really interested in going back to working for somebody right now. I'm kind of enjoying the entrepreneur life, even though it is hectic sometimes. Yeah, you can question yourself. I think I like it.
Okay. All right. So one more question. So when people always call you about cleaning and cleaning their homes and stuff like that, do they get you confused with like cleaning like janitorial services or like
All the
household
time.
services?
Yes. So, and that's another thing. Like I was using, excuse me, I was using different platforms to kind of get the word out. Like I was using Yelp. Uh, I was using, what's that other one? Home Advisor, I think it is. But they didn't have a category for disinfecting, right? So they only had categories for cleaning. And so, you put that like, oh, you get a message saying, I need a 2-bedroom apartment clean. And I'm like, well, I don't do it. I don't clean. So you got to, I just want people to understand that what I do is a little different than normal cleaning. Now I do have a piece of machining that can clean, but it's not going to clean like you would get a house service cleaning, like it's cleaning for industrial standards. But yeah, it's just I always educate people. I think that was like one of my first posts on Instagram was the difference between cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing. Just so people will kind of get it, right? Because and I get it. People use the word interchangeably, like, oh, I need this clean. What do you need to disinfect it? Yeah, that. But so you got to be patient with people. You don't want them to you know, try to be too forward with the way you tell them about your services. So you just kind of want to make sure you understand and that they understand what you offer. But it happens all the time. It's fine. As long as I get a call, if I get you on the phone, that's all I want.
Yeah, once you come on the phone, you can work your magic.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So being a minority owner, being a black male, have you had any issues um, going to a client's place of business or house and they didn't want you to clean their house or anything like that happen to you?
Uh, I wouldn't say. Well, I haven't really done any homes,
Okay.
so it's all been business stuff. And uh, like somebody will call me, I'll do like a walkthrough. They might be surprised, be like, "Oh, it's a black guy." Who knows? I don't know. I don't dwell on that.
Mm,
Like I just go in there. If you don't want me because of the color of my skin, then that's on you. Whatever. I did 14 years in oil and gas industry, so I'm kind of like, if you anybody who's been in the oil and gas industry know what kind of people you're dealing with out there. So it's kind of
right.
like, this is tame. Like it's just different. So I don't really think about it that way. I'm sure I have, and there are barriers for minority-owned businesses, right? That's just a fact of life because we don't have the same access to capital as some people do. The banks look at us differently now. When I first started, this was self-funded. I didn't get a loan. I didn't have to go to a bank, so I didn't have to deal with that. But as businesses grow, I think minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses have different hurdles to deal with than other companies, right? So that's why I go back again, being a member of the Black Chamber of Commerce or any Chamber of Commerce, getting in programs where you're getting exposure to different things, getting DBE certified, all kind of things like that. That helps kind
What's
of
that? What is that?
disadvantaged business search. So you go to the city and there's a DBE certification website. You go out and fill it out. They review it, and then you get DBE certified. And it kind of gives you contracts with the city and the state. They have a certain allotment for DBE participants, right? It's got to be like 30 to 35%. So
Mhm.
once you get that certification, you're eligible to get those contracts, right? If they have the service that they're looking for.
So
Because
you
say
get you have
somebody wants to do I don't know, some construction work on the airport. I'm sure, like, use the airport for example. They had to find 30% minority-owned businesses to get in there and do some of the work, like the people in charge, right? They got to hire some minority-owned businesses because let's just be real about it. Like if they didn't, they probably wouldn't, right? They would just use the people they knew. But that just puts everybody else at disadvantage because we don't have the same access to opportunity as other people do because we're not the people making those decisions for the most part. So do your homework, man. Find out about those opportunities out there. There are plenty, and just keep grinding and doing the best job you can, I think. And you won't have to worry about that kind of thing as much as you would.
Okay. Wow. I mean, you dropped some knowledge on me that I learned a couple things I didn't even know anything about.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, dude, like you got technology thing going on in your company, man. Looking at getting DBE certified, man. Like go in and fill out the paperwork,
So
tell them what you do.
for
It's
the DBE certified, is it like the Bill Nolte? You have to take a class for that too, or you just fill out an
no,
application?
I think they offer a course, but you can go in and fill it out. Like if you just go to the City of NOLA website. Let me just I had it up there.
I hope y'all taking notes. This knowledge right here.
So you go to the City of New Orleans website. If you have a business, it's called a Disadvantaged Business Enterprise System. You create your profile and you get your account and you start filling out all the information that they were asking for. It is very lengthy application process, but it's worth it. I'm in a process. I've just submitted. I'm in review. So fingers crossed. Hopefully I get my DBE certification. If you're a veteran, you need to look into getting your veteran. I think it's called a Hudson Initiative. You can get your veterans certification through the state. If you're a service disabled veteran, you can get that as well. Like, man, you just got to get out there and find out what's available, because they have programs available. So
okay. I got a question from Corey Gerard. How long did it take to get DBA certified?
It's DBE, and I'm still waiting. I did it. I submitted, and I'll be honest, I sat on the application for a while because it was just like, man, they want to know who you dated in junior high. But I was like, I kind of procrastinated a little bit, and I finally got it done. And so I'm waiting to hear back from. Hopefully, I hear back from another week or so. But they got an email saying they received it and it's under review. So I think it takes like 15 days to answer your question once you submit your application.
Okay. And is a fee associated with that as well?
No, like that's free, man. It's through the city. Like you don't have to pay anything to get DBE certified.
Okay. All right.
Just create an account, have your business set up, LLC, FEIN, a federal employment identification number. I think you need a DUNS number, and then you need like a whole bunch of other information. Once you start you'll see it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man, you dropped a lot of knowledge tonight. I hope everybody go back and take notes on that. They got Bill Nola 2020. You got the Chambers of Commerce, Black Chamber of Commerce, getting DBE certified. I didn't even know you had to get. What was the certification that you had to start your business with?
Commercial pesticide application license through the state of Louisiana, and you have to get an add-on for antimicrobial pest control.
Okay.
In order to be licensed to do disinfecting work.
All right. And so in any field you do, you got to get certification. Also,
pretty much.
It's something you got to license certified to something in the type of field you're trying to get into. All right. Can you tell people a little bit? Can you tell your social media handles, your website? I also put it up on the banner so they can look at it as well.
Yeah, you can go to the website. It's www.totaldisinfectingsolutions.com. You can find me on Instagram at Total Disinfecting Solutions, Facebook Total Disinfecting Solutions. I'm even on Twitter, Total Disinfect One. If you want to at Total Disinfect One on Twitter. So yeah, you can find me that way. My phone number is 504-478-5608. So yeah, I'm easy to get a hold to. If you got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Remember to follow, share, like. This is why I have this platform, to know the businesses in the area that you can support, especially minority-owned business and women-owned business. Make sure you follow, like, share this. If you need any sanitation, cleaning services,
disinfecting,
sanitizing,
industrial cleaning, all our services, all our chemicals we use are non-toxic. They won't harm you, your pets, or your kids. So everything is safe. Everything is EPA registered. So that's another thing I take very serious. This is like minimal impact on the environment. I think we have enough of that in our neighborhoods as it is. so we don't need it in our house. So I use non-toxic chemicals when I treat surfaces.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you follow, share, like us. See y'all on the next episode. Peace. We out.
We out.